Hey, Piper. Hey there.
Yes.
Hi, girl.
Has a black center. And this one, I do want to kind of go light so that you can see the inside of it.
Uh-huh.
And so I just start in the center and I come a little over. So that it covers the center
Uh-huh.
and adds,
It looks like shading.
yeah,
To give it
just a
depth.
little bit of shading.
Mm-hmm.
And then you come back
You're trying to get
until
just
I
right.
get down to about the color that
Uh-huh.
I want. Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go from the center and on some flowers you actually like leave a little bit of whiteness
Uh-huh.
and it just punches up the flower.
Okay.
But in this case, the poppy doesn't have very much dimension.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one colored.
Yay!
And now
So,
comes the next step.
and this is 3 layers, right?
Right, so we have
Okay.
two more
2 more to go.
two more to go.
Okay.
But the next step
Mm-hmm. Is the glue?
is
What is that? Is that just a little misting?
it's just, yeah, it's,
Okay.
put your hand out.
Okay. Oh, yes, just a little mist.
Yeah, just a little one, yeah. And then you have a molding tool,
Uh-huh.
and, well, I shouldn't have cut that one wet. And so then, and this doesn't really require, a poppy just, when it's open, it just kind of lays out.
Mm-hmm.
A rose, you can really push it up and make the inside like it is, and then work out, and you can make really curly edges. But this is really simple.
Okay.
And you just take on a sponge, you just take and push down, and you can see the indentation that I'm getting.
This is fascinating. What's fascinating to me is that people came up with all these tools and ideas to make it as close to real as possible. That's what amazes me.
The company that I get most of my flower molds from and everything is Heartfelt Creations, and they hit the expos, oh gosh, like 2000,
Mm-hmm.
something like that. Okay, now I just turn it over and I'm just going to press around that.
It's beautiful.
That's it.
Look at you.
So then I'll do one more and then you get to try.
Okay. All right.
Whoop. it's all just quick work. Nobody's gonna see too much of it, other than just, and like if they do see a little bit of the white as it gets closer, that's okay on an underside. But most people aren't gonna be peeking up and under.
I agree.
The bottom one doesn't matter too much, or the top one, they get covered, but sometimes the middle one I do differently if I think it's going to show, but in this case it doesn't really show that much. Oops, I forgot to do my corners.
So as your fingers start to get the ink on it, does that ever bother you?
No,
To get
not
stuff messy fingers or
really.
anything?
I'm kind of used to it. I just, if it gets to the point where it rubs off or something, then I'll go wash my hands. But otherwise, no, not too much. And this one, I'm just adding a little bit more lightness.
I can see.
You can see.
And even a little bit more where you don't, not every single inch is covered with ink. I can see that.
Yeah, yeah, just a
different.
little difference so that it doesn't look so artificial.
So when you are struck with something you'd like to do, like a project, this you did because I asked you to, or because I gave you an idea and you knew you had something better to make it better. But are you inspired, or are you what instigates you to start a project? Do you read about it? Have you watched it on TV or a program?
Oh, when you teach as often as I have, you go to the expos and stuff, and yes, I've taken several classes from this one company. And so when you take the classes, you learn, and then it just becomes kind of second nature, and it's fun. I like, when you said, I need, can you, it was like, well, I know, given you know, what I have,
Uh-huh.
I probably can come up with something. And this was the closest I could come up with, and then you said yes, you liked it.
Well, I don't think anybody would say anything different. It's gorgeous. It's like take my idea that came from, you know, a little online thing and amp it up about 10 notches.
Yes, that one was a little on the sad side, and I could not let you, I could not let you
Yes.
do that. It's not within my, in what I know, I prefer you to have the best that you can get.
Yes.
So then you have to work with what I have.
Which is fine, because I don't know what the options are anyway. And these ink pads, are they just your typical ink pads?
Yeah, the ones that, you know, when we've gone down to Michael's and you see them on the racks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another one. Okay.
So the misting is necessary in order to do the molding.
Actually, no, you could mold just as soon as you did this. But then when it's done, it wouldn't be stiff. The
Okay.
water misting helps to hold it in place and becomes stiff. When I use flowers in scrapbooking, those pages go into a sleeve. So I don't go as high as this on flowers, but I do make dimensional ones. And so I always mist
Okay.
because it's going to hold it in shape. Now, when you don't use mist, they look the same. They look pretty. They just don't hold that shape depending on how you plan on using them.
Okay.
And I think you were wanting to maybe use them as a pin, right?
That's right.
Yeah, so that depends on, you know, some kind of a stiffness. Okay, now, when you make flowers, this one, when a poppy is open, their petals curve under. So I work from the wrong side. But there are flowers that are like this. So then you work from the top side,
Okay.
okay? And if you were wanting to do a real rose and that has the crinkled edges, you come in and fold these over with your fingers and pleat them.
Okay.
And then that gives you a total different look. You can find all kinds of different ways to make flowers look a different way. These don't take very much time in shaping. Other flowers take a lot longer.
Do any of your granddaughters,
No, none of them.
none of them want to do stuff like this?
What the younger one,
Uh-huh.
likes the drawing like Jill does.
Uh-huh, okay.
But no, they have talents,
Uh-huh.
but they all can draw, but they're more musically inclined.
Mm-hmm, okay.
I have one that is a singer and now a composer,
Wow.
and then I have two clarinet players.
Uh-huh.
So they have their own talent. So now what you would do would be, these aren't quite dry enough, but you would take a dab of glue, put offset,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
offset again,
Mm-hmm.
and there's two different sizes of the paper stamens.
Yes.
Now, there
Did you cut
are...
these out ahead of time? Or are these?
Oh, yes, I cut these out ahead of time to save
Oh, my
time
goodness.
and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But there's real looking ones,
Mm-hmm.
and I do use those in, like, the flowers that really, need it or whatever. So the only thing you do here is just come
I see.
to where you
Uh-huh.
can take and put
Oh, glue.
the glue
Uh-huh.
on,
Yes.
and then you open it up after it's sitting there. I don't want to glue right this minute because it's still wet.
Mm-hmm.
And then I alternate with a small one.
Okay.
That has 4 in there because a poppy has a lot. So then I open it up. So that I can sit another one in there. Now I'll go to a large one again. And you can see why I colored that center darker, because these are so dark, and that's where they're
Yes.
they're coming from, is growing from that center. In particular, one of them had a tip in that was off. Okay, so if it was glued together,
Yes.
that's how long it took to do it.
Right. Which is probably about, it may have taken 25 minutes, close to 30 minutes with
Yeah,
no glue.
That was from stamping,
Mm-hmm.
cutting,
Mm-hmm.
coloring, and
You'd have to
to
wait
get
a
those
little bit.
to get those 4 things, that's one swipe through, which is 5 minutes at the most, from getting your materials and sending it through.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So,
Now
think-
you get to do.
I get to do. It's my turn. But I was gonna say goodbye to Piper with the camera, but she
She's
disappeared.
probably overtaken an afternoon nap. She hasn't had one.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop the filming now.